welcome back. My name is Katie and today I will be reviewing The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, so you do not have to worry about me spoiling you for anything that happens in this book. I'm just gonna go over the plot and then my spoiler-free thoughts on this novel. Dan Brown is an adult mystery/thriller novelist, and this Lost Symbol is actually the third book in the Robert Langdon series. However, you do not have to read this series continually. It's mostly a companion series just with the same main character in each one. So I have only read The Da Vinci Code and The Lost Symbol, but I haven't read the first one or the last one in this series yet. And I wasn't spoiled for anything that happened in the previous books, the ones that I read and the ones that I didn't. So you do not have to read this series consecutively. So this novel opens with Robert Langdon, who is a Harvard professor of art history and symbology. And he is summoned by his good friend and colleague Peter Solomon to the United States Capitol to give a lecture. Now when he gets there, all sorts of things go down. He realizes that he was manipulated into coming to the Capitol and that his friend is actually missing. And so he is at the Capitol when all of this crazy stuff happens. He ends up getting involved with the CIA, with this organization called the Freemasons, and a lot of other really cool historical stuff going down. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. It was really thrilling. The plot was twisty and turny and just absolutely a lot of fun. The cool thing that I really like about Dan Brown's books is that he incorporates a lot of historical accuracy into his fictional works. So all of these secret societies, supposedly secret societies, places, organizations are real, even though the events in this book are fictional, and I just find that really awesome. I think he's a very smart guy and he incorporates a lot of really cool historical accuracy into his novels. Another thing that I like is that it is a mystery thriller, so obviously there's going to be some plot twists. I guessed a minor few, but there are some really good plot twists in this book, and the fact that it was set in Washington, I really liked that as well because I visited there before and I love all of the historical accuracy of the places that they go, and it was just a lot of fun. The other thing I want to mention that I really enjoyed about this book was the antagonist/villain of the book. We get chapters in his perspective, and I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. He was so complex and bizarre and just an amazing character. I just really enjoyed the villain in this book, almost more than I enjoyed some of the protagonist and main characters, honestly. Like, he was so weird and interesting, and his motivations were just like, I loved it. On to a couple things that I really didn't like about this book, which is what brought me down to a 3.75 out of 5 stars. The first being that the author info dumps a lot. Now, being as this is a book about a Harvard symbologist and there are a lot of symbols that he has to decode, we're gonna need some explanation. But I found that Dan Brown will do plot, info dump, and in this book there's a character that knows nothing about symbols, and she wanted to know everything, which seemed kind of convenient to explain to the reader, to have Robert Langdon go on for paragraphs and paragraphs about intricate symbols and how they were used throughout history. Some of that was interesting, but a lot of it got to be really long and actually brought me out of the reading experience a couple times because I was just like, when are we gonna move on with this story? One other thing that I did not really like, and this didn't happen all the time in the books, but just a few times I felt like the author talked down to the reader or simplified things a little too much. And my example of this, I remember laughing out loud because it was such an absurd sentence, is when there's a symbol in this book and there are actually two symbols, and one of the sentences is, a rose symbol on a cross symbol makes an entirely new symbol, a rose cross. And I was just like, do you think we're dumb? Like, do you think we're stupid? Like, we're not as smart as you. But I got that feeling occasionally, that he was just talking down to the reader or like oversimplifying things that didn't really need to be oversimplified. That's just my opinion. One last thing is that I listened to this book on audiobook when I was on a road trip. I thought it was a fantastic audiobook for a road trip because it kept my attention while I was driving, and that was really nice because it was a really long road trip. So it kept my attention. Also, the narrator was really good. He spoke a smidge slow, but other than that, I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook. I also know that a lot of people enjoy to read these because you get to actually see some of the puzzles. So that might have been nice, but I really didn't feel like I needed to look at the puzzles because he explains it in the text really well. So that is my non-spoiler review of The Lost Symbol. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!